Right, today we're at Hypertech, which is in Scotland, a place called Bonnybridge, and we are in to get the Project WRX put on the dyno. So, the car's going on, get a power run done, make sure that all is well after changing the exhaust at the weekend. First run done, Ewan then did some tweaks to the graph scales so that he could see what was going on a bit easier. It was clear I wasn't going to hit 350 horsepower today, so he rescaled the graphs to 300 and makes it much easier to see from the driver's seat. Cut to me in the office after the dyno. First thing I want to point out is that these are the same car on the same map. In both of these power graphs, the air-fuel ratio is at around 11.5 at 3000 RPM and comes all the way down to 10.5 at the top of its rev range. So that's your AFR, both maps 10.5, same car, same map. But the other thing is the boost pressure. It is a VF43 turbo from an STI, and it is, I guess, gently mapped. It could do more than this, but this peaks boost at 1.25 bar. 1.25 bar, right? First things first, same car, same map. Please excuse the dreadful handwriting. Well, that's louder than most track limits. Now this is where it gets interesting. This is a printout from a Dyno Dynamics in England, Warwickshire, and we have a max horsepower of 349, basically 350, and also a max torque of basically 350. This is also a Dyno Dynamics, but up in Scotland. The torque map is almost exactly the same. So here's a torque map. Peaks, starts to cut out at 4000 RPM and tails off towards the end of the map with a max torque figure of just under 350 foot-pounds. But the horsepower number is very different. In the latest dyno, we only got 300 horsepower, give or take, but the same torque map. So the car feels the same because it's torque that gives you the feel of power and the thrust back into your seat, not the horsepower. Horsepower is an arbitrary number which is a multiplier of RPM and torque. It's for penis waving and comparing cars, but torque is what you feel when you drive. Well, this is where Duncan, who owns Hypertech, came in, because he knew this car had previously dynoed at 349 horsepower and he saw it pull in 300. So he came and he told Ewan about EQTech's switchable maps. If you're at full throttle and you tap the rear window demister twice, it switches the map. So he thought maybe it has a switchable map, so Ewan tried another run. Final run, 300 horsepower, no switchable maps. But I got to talking with Ewan, who was a very wise chap, in a Hypertech, and he said that it's so simple to fudge the figure for horsepower. Let's take, for example, you've got a customer who's come in for a remap. They have a figure in mind and they want to go from, for example, 283 up to 350 horsepower, but they get the car mapped and the result is 300, not 350. Well, what you can do is you can just grab the temperature sensor probe and warm it up a little bit in your hand. You get the same map, but the horsepower figure jumps up because the temperature's been fiddled with. The car I have is more or less 300 horsepower, but definitely 300 foot-pounds of torque, and it is faster than the old Subaru which I had, which was 320 foot-pounds of torque. The other thing I want to point out is the difference between runs on the same dyno on the same day. Let me show you the 3 runs from Hypertech. These runs were done on the same dyno on the same day, more or less one after another. But the first run was 296 horsepower. The second run, 300.5 horsepower. The final run was 301.9 horsepower. And on the map, you can see subtle differences in the torque and the horsepower curve. What's going on there? Basic science, hot gases travel faster. So as you do successive runs, your turbo heats up on the exhaust turbine side, your downpipe heats up, your cat heats up, and they flow more air through them than they did on the previous run. So in that case, heat, to a point, benefits your torque and your horsepower numbers. So that's why you sometimes see people wrapping their downpipes with that heat-proof tape, or putting a turbo jacket onto the turbo itself. 2 features of that: it keeps the hot parts hot, so they flow gas faster, and it also prevents air escaping into the rest of your engine bay and affecting your reduction temperatures, which is, you know, another thing that you want to keep cool. So in these runs you can see very slight variations, but each successive run got hotter, and when you take your car to the dyno, you'll probably find you get 3 horsepower numbers, and the last run will normally be the highest power number. But still, Hypertech did an awesome job, can't recommend them enough, very knowledgeable and very happy to explain things as they're doing so. If you're in central Scotland and you need some work on your Jap cars, hit them up, link in the description below.